Good evening. First of all, I want to take this opportunity to welcome you to How to Do Business with Cobb. This is a joint effort. Not only is it Cobb County government, it's also Cobb County School District. So you'll get a wealth of information tonight on how to do business with two of the largest organizations within the county. I'm Willie Hopkins. I am the Support Services Agency Director. I want to take this opportunity to introduce Mr. Joe Tommy, who is our Purchasing Director. And after I make the introduction of our elected officials, they're going to speak, and then Mr. Tommy is going to come forward and get the program started. On behalf of the Board of Commissioners and the County Manager, we're fortunate tonight to have two commissioners with us, which is Commissioner Burrow and Commissioner Cupid. They are excellent proponents of this program, and they support it 100%. So with that, I'm going to turn the mic over to Commissioner Burrow, and she'll be followed by, maybe by Commissioner Cupid.
Thank you, Willie. Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for weathering the storms outside and coming out tonight. This is a great crowd. I think it's our largest attendance so far this year. I'm Joanne Burrow, the District 3, which is Northeast Cobb, Commissioner, and this program started my first year in office in 2011. So this is our fourth year of offering how to do business with Cobb seminars. And it kind of developed from a program that I initiated my first year in office called Keep It in Cobb. That paired with our purchasing department, actually before Willie and Joe's time, but they've expanded the program and moved it forward with great strides. So, but we started these in 2011, and we had 2 a year. Then we expanded last year and had one in each of the commission districts, and an overall one. And now, as of last year and this year, we're partnering with the Cobb County School District. So you're in for a great treat tonight, and also for the first time, thanks to our communications department, Abby Lynn Anderson, Aqua Leal is here, and also Cornelius Pope. This is being recorded, and it will be online. The video will be online, so that if for whatever reason there are folks out there that wanted to attend tonight and couldn't make it due to their schedule, they'll be able to view it online. So this will be on TV 23, and if you sign up for your commissioner's newsletter every week, we'll put a link on that to let you know when it will be airing, so that you can watch it later and tell your friends. So I would just like to thank our purchasing, the school district purchasing, all of our staff that's here tonight for the networking segment, which is you'll really enjoy all the presentations and the networking as well. So I'd just like to thank everyone for being here, and you know, if you have any questions afterwards, the contact information for purchasing and myself and Commissioner Cupid and all of us will be on the screen. So thank you. Lisa?
Good evening, everyone. I'm glad to see that this room is quite full. As Commissioner Burrell shared, that this is our second year of doing multiple events like this throughout the county, and I'm always amazed to see how many people continue to show interest. For me, it's particularly important to support this because I know some of the challenges some people may have, real and perceived, in doing business with the county. But as you can see through workshops like this, we have a very open staff and a very open effort to make sure that people are brought in to learn about opportunities here. I can speak from a firsthand experience prior to my onboard, speaking with a small business owner in South Cobb who stated that he had been diligently trying to get a contract with the county and had not been successful. and I was fortunate to have had the first series of events occur last year in the district. The gentleman came out to the event. I saw him months later. He told me he got his first contract with Cobb County. While I cannot guarantee that it's going to be all of your experience today, I can definitely tell you that that was an actual experience, and I hope that is an experience that's repeated for some of you who are here today. So I encourage you to get as much information as you can and take advantage of the networking that's available with the individual departments. And as will be shared during the workshop, while there's some opportunities that come through an open bid process, there are some opportunities that come through your direct relationship with agencies. So they will be available after today's meeting, and I encourage you to reach out to them. And before I sit down, I want to thank everybody who's here with Cobb County Schools and also with Cobb County government for spending your evening here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Again, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Tommy, and he'll introduce the rest of staff, and we'll move the program forward. Joe.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hopkins. Good afternoon again. On behalf of Cobb County School District and Cobb County government, I just wanted to thank everyone for coming out, especially on kind of a bad afternoon. I apologize for a slight delay we've had. Due to the storm, we had some trees down, and there was some delays in some folks being able to get here. So, but we'll be back on schedule. I did want to tell you just briefly what we'll be doing for the next couple of hours. And as Commissioner Burrell stated, we decided last year to partner with the school district, give everybody an opportunity to hear the purchasing processes for the two largest governmental entities in Cobb County. So the purpose of our program tonight is to provide you with some basic information on the purchasing processes for both school district and the county, and also have an opportunity to network and meet some representatives from both entities. So here's what we'll be doing. We're going to start out by introducing or having a brief introduction by the Cobb County representatives, the department representatives. And I'm going to ask them to come up just briefly and just introduce yourself and tell which department you're with and just some of the common products or services that you purchase. And then once we do that, I'll turn this over to Elisa Morningstar, Director of Procurement Services for the school district. And then Elisa, they will give a brief overview of their process, 20 minutes or so. We'll come back with the county. I'll introduce county staff that will be participating in our presentation, and then we'll give you about a 20-minute overview. And then one of the benefits that we found people really like about our seminars is that they have an opportunity to network. So what we'll do is have the representatives, department representatives, they'll be in the learning center directly across the hall. There's a lot more room there, and we'll have about a half hour set aside for you to go over, meet them, introduce yourself, learn a little bit more about what opportunities you may have with those departments. So at this time, I'd like to ask Cobb County's department reps to go ahead and come up. I did want to tell you, I was cautioned, this is being videotaped. They told me I got this little circle right here I can't hardly get out of, right, Equa? Is that good? Okay, so they say if we step out of the circle, they're going to cut off top of our head, right? Okay. Okay, Rich, you want to go first? Okay.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Rich Frazier. I'm with Cobb Public Safety, and I think it's helpful to tell you what Cobb Public Safety is to help guide you. Cobb Public Safety is comprised of 8 different departments. We are comprised of 911, the fire department, 800 megahertz, which is kind of the radio communications of emergency responders, the police department, safety village, animal control, training center, and the public safety administrative office. So as you can see, we're a very large entity. We're all under the umbrella of the public safety and the public safety director, Sam Heaton. So with that being said, we have approximately 1,500 employees that we serve and more than about 50 locations throughout the county that we have employees stationed at. So many of these people coming behind will tell you kind of things that they specifically buy. I can just tell you we're very large, and therefore we need a lot of stuff, from small stuff to big stuff, everything from uniforms to, I mean, you just absolutely name it. So anyway, myself and Suzanne Westerman with Public Safety will be at the table. We'd love to hear from you, exchange business cards, find out what you have, and Deputy Chief Tanks from Fire will tell you some specific stuff about fire as well. Thank you. Come and see us.
Good evening. My name is Vicki Gardner. I'm the Administrative Division Manager for the Department of Transportation. We have about 150 employees, lots of consultants in our area. We have 8 different divisions that I'm responsible for all the accounting, budget, financial activity. All procurements run through my area, and we purchase anything from paper towels to multi-million-dollar road construction projects. So we do a little bit of everything in our area. Department of Transportation has 8 different divisions. We have an administrative division, the airport, transit, engineering and construction. We have a road maintenance division and a traffic operations division and a planning division. So similar to public safety, we do just a little bit of everything. We purchase just different materials, supplies. We do facility construction, road construction, professional services, engineering design, just a little bit of everything. And most purchases initiate in my department. If the procurement doesn't actually initiate in my department, I'm at least looking for the funding for it. So look forward to meeting some of you this evening and working with you in the future. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Aqua, and I'm with the Cobb County Communications Department. We are probably one of the smallest departments compared to Rich's. We do, however, have the TV station, a publishing division, and web. We do buy some printing, promotional products, apparel, office products, and we also buy stuff that goes in our TV studio. We don't buy a lot, but we do buy occasionally, and our office manager, Abby Lynn, will be here to tell you a little bit more about it, and if you're interested, please let us know what we can do. We also do lots of special events, and we kind of generate lots of ideas for other departments that we work with. So whatever that you have that may be of interest to us, we'd certainly love to hear from you. Thank you.
Let's reading my list here. My son said, "You talking? You look at your phone at the same time. The people thought you were being rude." No, this is an electronic list. Okay, so I'm not looking at a text. My name is William Tanks, Deputy Fire Chief of Cobb County Fire Department. We have 32 facilities. It's like having 32 houses, 100 vehicles, and about 680 employees. So if you think about your car, your house, and your family, the things that you buy, multiply that by those 32 houses, 100 cars, and 680 children. So toilet paper, oil for our vehicles, repairs on our houses, roof repairs, HVAC, paint, anything that's done with a structure where our guys live there for 24 hours. And of course on the vehicles, tires, any auto parts, towing, anything that's associated with a vehicle. And our vehicles are very big, large, red vehicles, so they get a lot of use. And of course the firefighters have uniforms, they live there, they have to cook. They have, we buy kitchen utensils, we have kitchens in all of our fire stations, and drive-through bays, anything you can think of that you may have a product that could meet one of those needs. I'll be over at the table afterwards and be glad to talk to you about helping us to help you.
Good evening. I'm Kathleen Daniel. I'm with the Human Resources Department. And most of the items that we purchase are professional services. So most of the things we go out with RFQ or RFP. And there are things like benefits, workers' compensation. Let's see, the benefits are broken down in more detail, like dental and vision. Other items are testing services. We do a lot of promotional testing for especially public safety. So we are looking for vendors that provide that service. Again, the majority of our items are through RFP and RFQ. So thank you. I'll be in the back.
I'm Julia Levesque, and I'm a division manager in information services. We support the departments across the county. Anything from hardware as simple as workstations on the desktop, peripherals, scanners, printers, those type items. Also, our department handles the infrastructure, so we're interested in servers. We purchase networking equipment, cabling, those type items. By supporting and working with the departments to find technology to support the business needs, we look at software, of course, professional services to implement software products or to do analysis on business processes. So those are the type of things that we purchase or are interested in. I look forward to meeting and talking to you, and like I say, across the way. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Jessica Gill, and I'm the director of Cobb Senior Services. And we serve over probably 10,000 seniors a year in our 8 centers. So we have houses like Willie, and we do lots of things that you might not recognize. In addition to Meals on Wheels, which is we do have vendors for, we serve over 200 meals a day. So we also have a cafe and a kitchen where we prepare those meals. We need things for that kitchen. We have a full-scale fitness center in one of our actual sites, and we buy fitness equipment. We do carpeting, we do everything, and so there's a lot of opportunity with us that you might not think of. We also do personal services such as in-home care for seniors, so we work with different at-home agencies, and we do transportation, so we buy things for our buses as well, and we also use GPS systems, all types of things. This is JJ. He's new to Senior Services. He's our business manager, so you would be working with him. And we look forward to seeing you after.
Good evening. My name is Tom Shaver. I'm the business manager for the library system. We have 17 libraries spread out throughout the county. We have about 3 million books. No, we don't. We circulate about 3 million books. We have about 600,000 books. Books are still in. I saw the high-tech thing, but if you're my age, you still read because you can't see the print on those little things. We buy a lot of material to process the books, you know, a little card that was in the back, and then the envelope, the jackets that go around the dust covers, things of that nature, as well as a lot of office supplies. Probably our biggest office supply cost is paper. We have 42 photocopiers spread out among the 17 libraries. That means we also have to buy toner. Now we work with purchasing, we work with property management and information services for computer, building issues, and purchasing. But we do like to be a little bit independent in bringing the idea to those departments rather than having them tell us what they think we should do. We're open to both sides. So if you've got a product that we might use, feel free to give us a call. Again, I'll be over in the meeting. Glad to meet you. Good to see you.
Good evening. I'm Steve Nestor with the water system. I'm the division manager there. We have 4 main divisions: customer service, operations, stormwater, and I'm forgetting one other one. I'm sorry. That falls under operations. So there's a couple other divisions under operations. But a lot of our contracts, our main contracts, are really associated with maintaining our sewer infrastructure, our water infrastructure, and our treatment plants. We do have some smaller contracts like landscaping, custodial services that we also let out. And we also do RFPs and RFQs for professional services, design services, consulting services. I would add, though, some of those larger contracts, they may need subcontractors, so that may be another avenue of interest depending on your particular area of expertise. So look forward to seeing you in the Learning Center. Thanks.
Hello, my name is Gary Towns. I'm a fleet management supervisor for the light duty car and truck shop. In our department, we all work as one, but we got 6 different departments, like a lot of y'all do. We have a motorcycle shop, a car light duty shop. We have a medium heavy duty truck shop. We have a fabricating and equipment shop, a full parts department, and an administrative department. And pretty much anything you can think of for a tractor, a car, a piece of equipment, parts-wise, it don't matter. We use it. And if that's your business, then I'll be back here. Be glad to talk to you about it. And I got plenty of business cards from everybody in our department. So if you need a certain part of that department, we take care of it for you. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Dana Johnson. I'm with the Community Development Agency. We're the development coordinating agency for Cobb County. So we do everything from planning, zoning, building permits, business licenses, basically anything that gets people in the community mad or upset, they come to us. So that's kind of what we do. We kind of do a little bit of everything as far as purchasing, but mostly we deal with uniforms, expert testimony, professional services, grass cutting. If you're in a service where you remove vacant and dilapidated houses, we use that for nuisance abatement processes, specialized printing. That's kind of what we do, since we're more of a regulatory agency compared to some of the other ones that do more infrastructure and services. So be happy to talk to you. Glad you're here. Thanks.
Good evening. My name is Lee Vaughn. I'm with Property Management. Basically, probably 99% of all the other departments you've heard from, we take care of. We have 4 divisions in our office. We have new construction, which builds anything that's fresh out of the ground. We do it with contractors, professional services. All these are usually bid out. We use those in that department. Myself, I'm over renovations. We do all in-house building, anything from, I have a design group where we have procurements for some of that. We buy supplies for those, but we also, any building supplies. We renovate anything in any building we have. We have another department, which is our maintenance department. They support and take care of all of these other individuals in here, from changing light bulbs, fixing doors, you name it, we fix it. We also have another services department. They're over custodial, ground maintenance, vending machines, any other type of services that we oversee the contracts for, or we have employees that we buy the supplies that they take care and do it themselves. So if you have any of those, we'd be glad to listen from you. There's 2 of us here. I'm the division manager over renovations. Scott Barfield, he's going to be back in the room with me. He's over maintenance. So we'd be glad to entertain anything you got. Thank you for your time.
Hello, I'm Mary David. I'm business manager from Parks and Recreation. We use anything from pencils, pens, any type of stationery, toys, games for the different programs that we offer, camps, as well as equipment, small lawnmowers, weed eaters, and also the parts that are needed to repair those items. We have a large department. It consists of recreation and community centers, arts and cultural affairs, operations, which includes the maintenance. We use janitorial items, as well as the items that use to clean the buildings, repair the buildings, and with all the SPLOST projects going on, we're roofing, fencing, electrical, all types of repairs. If you have any questions, I'll be in the other room across the way. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Ann. Okay, again, just a reminder, at the conclusion of Cobb County's presentation, all the department reps will be across the hall in the Learning Center, and we'll have about 30 minutes to go in and meet them and do some networking. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Elisa Morningstar. Elisa's Director of Procurement Services for the Cobb County School District. Elisa.
Good evening. I will go ahead and admit I'm part of the reason we were delayed a bit. I was late getting here, coming from the offices that I'm in with the school district up in Kennesaw, so I apologize for that up front. Got a couple of my staff here with me tonight, and they are handing out to you a little half-page sheet that tells you basically either everything you need to know about doing business with Cobb County or where to go find it on our website. We try very hard to eliminate paper where we can and put things out there electronically so that it's always available for you and so that when it gets updated, you have it in the updated format. Now, I've got to try to juggle a microphone and a clicker, so bear with me. Just some statistics about us. We are the second largest school district in Georgia, 24th largest in the nation, have real close to 110,000 students this year. We are growing, 114 school facilities, and we are the largest employer in Cobb County. So everything, all the people in Cobb County government told you that they need, with the exception of the fire department and the water department, we buy all those things as well, plus additional things that are more instructional related, textbooks and curriculum support materials, that sort of thing. So we do the same sort of thing they do in Cobb County government, just focus more on instruction. We spend about $66 million a year on purchase orders. That is primarily for stuff. So nuts and bolts, technology equipment, office supplies, maintenance supplies, that sort of thing. That's not counting all the construction that we do with our SPLOS funds or our service contracts. We do about $200 million a year in construction and service contracts. Say about because that varies depending on where we are in a SPLOST and what kind of projects we're working on. We do about $9 million in procurement card purchases, and those are predominantly small purchases that are really usually under $100. We do a few things that are higher than that, but they're the small, frequent purchases that the local schools and departments do. Some of them are items that we have on contract, and we work out with the vendors for them to take the P card for the contract, and some of them are things that the schools or the departments go and find as they need. We issue or extend about 71 requests for proposal every year, about 108 bids, and about 86 quotes, which a quote is really very similar to a bid, just at a smaller dollar threshold. How do we purchase things? Well, I mentioned we use the procurement card predominantly for small dollar items. They may or may not be on contract. Purchase orders are the most common method we use for buying the stuff, and it's automatically faxed or emailed to a vendor. So again, we're getting into that paperless. We're not sending you paper in the mail with that delay of getting it delivered to you. For services, we unfortunately still do have a paper process. It's a performance contract that needs about 27 million signatures on it. So it does take a little bit longer to get through the system and processed, and then payments are made against that with a check either upon completion of the services, or if we've set up a method to pay you at milestones, we can do that with a performance contract. How do we purchase things? Well, if it's under $10,000 and not already on a contract that my staff have awarded, the local school or department can go and find a vendor to provide that service or that good for them. If it's $10,000 or more, they have to come to my department, and our role is to guide that procurement process. one of the gentlemen from Cobb County government, I think with the library, said that he likes to drive his own process. Well, we don't tell the end users what to buy, but we do make sure that the way they buy it is consistent, that if there are any laws that have to be followed or any internal procedures, board policies, that we're adhering to those. So that's really our role in the process. We don't decide that the blue widget with pink polka dots is better than the green widget with yellow stripes. But we help them look at those on a fair basis and to make a decision that is equitable and transparent and gives them the best value at the best price. A request for quote, as I mentioned, this is for what we consider smaller purchases but large enough for procurement to get involved. Basically, if it's over $10,000 and under $50,000, it's going to come in and we're going to issue a quote. It's not quite as formal as a bid. There are some legal terms and conditions that we want to make sure you're adhering to. We do have to have written responses. We do have a specific due date and time that we expect you to submit your information to us by. They're typically advertised on our website, which again, on your little half page there, it tells you how to get there, for about a week. We don't do a public opening for these where you can all come in and hear us read them off and tabulate them and look at them. But we do tabulate them, and that information is available once it is awarded. They are awarded to the lowest price vendor that is both responsive and responsible. That means it's the lowest price vendor who has the ability to provide what we want and the wherewithal, the financial stability, and the history to provide what we want. So it may not be the lowest price vendor per se, because if the lowest price vendor isn't bidding or submitting what we ask for, it doesn't matter to us that they're lowest priced. Or if it's a company that we feel is not stable enough, doesn't have the wherewithal to deliver what we're wanting. For example, a small business that somebody's starting up in their basement may not be able to provide 500,000 widgets that have to be delivered to all 114 schools. So it's not saying we don't do business with those vendors for certain things, but when it's a large-scale project, we may exclude them. An invitation for bid. This is probably something in government purchasing that you're a little bit more familiar with hearing about. It is a formal written solicitation. It's about this thick with both our legal requirements to comply with various state and federal laws and with our own board policies, and then the specifications for what we're looking for. Typically, they're out on the street or advertised for 2 weeks. We put them both on our website and on the Cobb County government TV channel that they're advertised. There is a public opening that you can come and hear the prices read off. And again, it's awarded to the lowest price responsive and responsible vendor. A request for proposal. This is more when we're not looking for those blue widgets with pink polka dots, but we may be looking for services or a solution that involves both services and stuff. And we may not know exactly what it is we want. So we go out and we give an idea of what we want our end result to be and ask you to submit to us how we could achieve that. There is an evaluation criteria for these that includes things beyond price. Like it is going to include probably that solution you offer, what you recommend we do as far as implementation or deployment, what you may offer us as far as training or warranties or other services. in addition to price. We do take price into consideration, but there are other things, and there's always a listing of what those criteria are in the RFP so that you know what you're going to be graded on, basically. They stay out advertised again on our website and Channel 23 for at least 2 weeks. Okay, it may be longer if it's a really complicated solution that you guys come to us and say, that's not enough time to get together what we need. Or we know from history that you need more than 2 weeks. So they can be out for as long as a month. It is not publicly opened because we are going to read with our end user department those responses and grade them, and we may come back to you as a vendor and ask you for additional clarifications, additional information. We're going to ask you for best and final pricing, and if I revealed everybody's pricing when we open them, that wouldn't really be fair. So, again, it is our end user department who comes to us and says, I need to buy whatever it is, those blue widgets with pink polka dots. We don't sit around in my office and say, oh, we think we're going to buy this. There has to be a need in the school district. Now, we do keep track of things that are annually recurring that we know we're always going to need, like art supplies, office supplies, tires, air filters for the maintenance department, all those sort of things that we know we're going to buy every year. And there is a regular solicitation issued for those. And again, if you go look on our website at where we have our awards, you can get an idea of when those are going to expire and back that up by 2 to 3 months to know when we would be putting out a new solicitation for that. Again, we work with our end users. They're not, I can't get my folks here like Cobb County government can, but how my staff are organized is I have 3 teams, and each team works with a different group of end users. So one team works with technology, finance, and human resources. Unfortunately, I don't have a representative from that team here tonight, so that's going to be me when we go back there and talk in the back. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you have about that. One of my other teams, and I got to look at my cheat sheet so I don't mess it up, is construction, maintenance, policy and planning, those sort of things. They work with our SPLOS department. And I do have Chris McSpadden from that team here tonight, and he will be in the other room with us afterwards to talk to you about those sort of solicitations. The other team I have works on things dealing with curriculum and instruction, support materials, textbooks, that sort of thing, food and nutrition. We buy a lot of food to feed those kids every day. Communications and transportation. So that is June Wolfenbarger, and she will be across the hall at the end to talk to you about any of those sort of solicitations. Some things to help you with doing business with us is to check our website frequently. We do post everything out there. We may send notifications to vendors that have registered with us, but there is no guarantee that we're going to do that, because I may have 300 vendors registered that say they can provide those blue widgets with pink polka dots. And we don't send those notifications out to everybody like that because it just would get overwhelming. Read the solicitations carefully. If you're interested in responding to something, make sure you have read the document completely. And if you don't understand what we're asking for, there will be information in there about the proper way to ask questions. We do want questions in writing, and they need to be submitted to procurement. You can't go to the end user department and try to talk to them while that solicitation's out. They are not going to talk to you because we want to keep it fair and equitable, and any information that is shared with you, will be shared with any other vendors who might be interested in that because we post Q&A on our website. Again, the legalese is out there. Read it. Those are typically not negotiable if it's an invitation for bid or a quote. In an RFP, we have a little bit more flexibility with that. But if you've got a lot of heartburn about those, you need to come talk to me, and I'll explain to you why we have it in place, probably is what it's going to end up being. But we'll talk and see if there's a solution. The special terms and conditions section, that is the meat, the heart of what we're looking for. That tells you what we need those blue widgets with pink polka dots to do. So that's what you need to pay extra close attention to. It's going to tell you if we want you to do deliveries to 114 schools once a week, or if you can deliver it one time to an end user department and then they're going to distribute it. So you need to understand that and make sure that you're able to comply with whatever it is we're requesting. Again, ask the questions the proper way. If we have a pre-bid meeting or a site visit, I encourage you to attend it. I will caution you, don't decide that you're going to go scope out one of my schools without notifying something. Security, safety of the kids is very important to us, and if I have vendors showing up on school property unannounced, I have a lot of irate calls from principals. So if you feel you need to go visit a school to be able to respond to a solicitation, come through my office and let us work with you to make that happen in such a way that you can see what you need to see, and the principal's not calling me angry because you've showed up and you're snooping around the stadium, the athletic fields, trying to figure out what it is we're asking for, that sort of thing. Complete and return all the required forms. We have a lovely process in the state dealing with immigration laws where you have to sign an affidavit if you are providing any kind of services on our property. So please make sure you fill that affidavit out correctly. I see some of you shaking your head. Yes, you've been there and done that, right? So, but I have to have that. I have to report to the state that we have those documents, and we could be audited. So we have to have those in order to award to you. Pay attention to the due date and time. If you are late, it is too late. I will not accept it. If you're early, I will be more than happy to accept it. So always build time in there to give you enough time to meet our deadline. You see tonight, the traffic, the weather, it was horrible. So we had delays getting here. That can happen very easily coming to my office. I am up in the north part of Cobb County in Kennesaw at one of our warehouse facilities. So if you've ever driven up 75 anytime after 2 p.m., you know it can be a challenge. So don't cut it too close. I've kind of gone over my teams already and who I have here tonight. This is a listing of all of them. Again, your little half sheet, and it's really hard for me without being able to talk with my hands. But that little half sheet has all of this information on there for you. So that kind of is how to do business with Cobb County School District. Very compressed. We'll be happy to answer specific questions during the networking session in the back. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Elise. Okay, anybody else? Does anybody have a question from Elisa?
I wasn't going to ask that.
Okay, you know, I didn't mean to put you on the spot there, Elisa. Okay, at this time, I'd like to introduce the Cobb County staff members that will be presenting information. I'll start with Daphne Bailey. If you'll stand up, Daphne. Okay, Daphne is the supervisor of sealed bids, and in Cobb County, we have two divisions of purchasing. We have general purchasing, and we have sealed bids. And Daphne is supervisor of sealed bids, and then we have Bill Thomas. Bill is supervisor of general purchasing, and as Bill and Daphne go through their presentations, they'll explain to you the different functions in both divisions. We have Stephanie Bryce. Stephanie is a purchasing technician too that works in general purchasing. And then we have Roxanne Rush, finance division manager. And then I'd like to offer a special thanks to Karen Burt. She's the administrative assistant for purchasing. And also Ingra Eberhardt. And I think Ingra had to leave a little bit early, but she is Commissioner Burrell's administrative assistant. And again, I want to let them know how much I appreciate what they've done. They are responsible for coordinating and organizing and pulling all this together for us. So everybody, let's give those two a big hand, okay, for the hard work they did. Okay, let's see. I didn't leave anybody out, did I, Bill? Got it covered. Okay, well, let's see. We'll go to the next slide, Karen. Okay, just an overview of Cobb County Purchasing. We are the central organization or central procurement organization for Cobb County. Cobb is a large, of course, large metro Atlanta County. It's a very busy operation, and we have a variety or a wide range of functions in the county, and ranging from assisting departments in identifying sources of supply, assistance in securing bids and price quotations, process and approval of purchase orders, and last on our purchasing cycle is disposition of surplus property, and that's under Bill's supervision. Let's see, Karen, let's go to the next slide. Okay, what we're going to do is split this up. We're going to go to Bill next. Bill's going to cover some functions in general purchasing, and then after we get Bill's presentation, then we'll move on to sealed bids, Daphne Bailey. So, Bill.
Thank you, Joe. Actually, I'm just going to say hello. I am Bill Thomas, General Purchasing Supervisor, but Mr. Tommy has really supported professional development, and me taking full advantage of that when we have to have goals for employees. I made doing my segment of this presentation one of Stephanie Bryce's goals. So lucky me, and lucky you. So again, I will be in the back. I cover everything from surplus equipment, from decentralized purchase orders up to my 22-year coworker, Miss Bailey, which starts at $50,000, the formal bidding. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Stephanie Bryce.
I'm going to have Karen do my clicking, so I don't have to worry about it, because I talk with my hand. I talk with my hands as well. Let me do this. As a show of hands, how many of you are not registered as a vendor with Cobb County? Okay, good. I don't want everybody else who already is registered to ignore me, but I'm going to focus on those of you that raised your hand for a second. You can register as a vendor with Cobb County at it's purchasing.cobbcountyga.gov. It's actually been changed. You can get to it easier at cobbcounty.org/purchasing. You'll see a link that says vendor registration. You can click on that. It takes you through our vendor self-service system. It takes you about 10 minutes. You'll need your tax ID number. That's the one thing that most people don't have on hand that they may have to get from somebody in accounting or that type of thing. We maintain a master vendor list. You do not have to be registered to bid on an item. However, in order for us to cut a purchase order to you and pay you, you do have to be registered, and of course everybody wants to get paid. The registration includes your basic information, your contact information, who our contact is going to be as far as like a salesperson, a rep, addresses, phone numbers, fax numbers, emails, all the ways that we can get in touch with you. It includes some other additional information as well, but that's the important information that we want you to keep updated. By registering in vendor self-service, you can actually have access to update that information 24/7
at your fingertips. That way you can keep us up to date. We know in the sales force there can be turnover, so that way you can keep us updated at all times as to who the most recent contact is that we need to call to get a quote. You also can provide commodity code information. That tells us the types of goods or services that you can sell us. There are quite a few different codes. There are search features on that website that can help you through that. If you have any questions or problems when you're registering, the county now has a dedicated email address for vendor enrollment. You can email vendor.enrollment@cobbcounty.org. That is also where you will send your W-9. At the end of registration, after you've registered online, it will ask you to send that in, and that's the email address that you will send that to. If you have any problems, updating information or anything like that, that's the email address that you want to contact.
Could you repeat that?
Yes, vendor.enrollment@cobbcounty.org. The How to Do Business seminars, as Commissioner Burrell had said earlier and several people have said, they arose to help small businesses become a county vendor and learn about especially fulfilling the smaller purchase needs, which is the under $2,000 purchases. That's why we have the people that you're going to meet in the other room within the department so you can meet. There's a lot of opportunity for that. Since 2010, we've awarded over $7 million a year in those purchases alone to plenty of vendors. And that's the type of thing that we know you're definitely going to want to talk about the larger purchases, but as you can see, the smaller ones can add up. We've talked about this now, the under 2,000 threshold. We call them departmental purchase orders. You may hear them called field purchase orders, or you may know them as a field purchase order. It's for anything under 2,000. There are no formal quotes required. The departments will order directly from you. We have an actual piece of paper and everything that they fill out. We encourage them to obtain the best quote they can. We want them to, even though they are not required to get 3 quotes, we want them to try to get the best pricing and be as competitive as they can. There are some, I will make a note, there are some departments that at a lower level internally require 3 quotes, and that's separate from our policy. So from 2,000 up to 10,000, we can technically get a telephone quote. We can call you up on the phone. If we're on the phone with you requesting a quote, it's just as easy to send an email verifying that quote price as opposed to just verbally writing it down, because then we're going to want information, name, date. That way it covers you and it covers us. We always feel better if we have it in writing. Again, it's not required, but we kind of prefer it. From 10,000 up to $49,999.99 up to 50,000, we do require a written quote. That can be email, it can be fax, it can be hand delivered. We do have to have that quote in writing. As a buyer, the biggest thing for us is your timeliness of response. We generally will give you a deadline as to when that quote is due back. It's not a formal sealed bid, so there can be some leeway. For instance, if you're having to get a price from a manufacturer and it's going to be an extra day, that's fine with us as long as you communicate with us. We want you to communicate with us and say, hey, I'm getting that pricing. I've got a little longer wait time than I anticipated. That's fine. We just want to know. The biggest thing that we don't want to hear is we request a quote from you and we never hear from you again. So communication and vendor response is critical. So I'm going to turn it over to Daphne Bailey now.
Good afternoon. My name is Daphne Bailey, and I work in the seal bit section. And please excuse me, I'm trying to get over a cold and allergies, so if I'm not speaking loud, just let me know. But my division procures commodities and services over $50,000, and we do this through a sealed bid formal process. And there are 2 types of solicitations, and we sort of work like the school board. The first type is an ITB, which is an invitation to bid, and this is mostly procured for goods. Our next process is a request for proposals, and this is mostly processed for what you call professional services. And Mr. Tommy will go in more details for those 2 processes. The sealed bids solicitation responses are to be sealed and delivered to the purchasing department by 12 noon. If they come in by the mail by past 12 noon, or if you delivered past 12 noon, will not accept it. It will be late. So we really can't stress that please have your bids into purchasing by 12 noon. All of our bids are formally advertised in the Marietta Daily Journal in the legal section, and we also post all of our bids on our website. And there is a link, it's called Bidding Opportunities. We update our website every Friday. So we tell the vendors to check it daily because we do update it daily. Our formal bid openings are every second and fourth Thursday of the month. The bids are due at 12 noon. We open them at 2 o'clock here in the Board of Commissioners meeting room. Our bids are televised. We're the only entity that televises our bids. So you can watch us on TV, or you can go to our county website and watch us online on TV 23. We do have a couple of what we call master price agreements that are procured through the seal bid processes. And these are what we call contracts that are for 1 year. They're term contracts. And we can actually extend these for 2 additional years. And these are services that we use every day. For instance, like our Department of Transportation, asphalt. We use this every day. And there is a listing of all of our maintenance annual contracts back in the back. We have over 125 items on this maintenance contracts. And as I stated, we have up on these contracts asphalt, gasoline, inmate clothing, printer cartridges, you name it. Everything we need daily is on this contract. And most of these items are procured through the seal bid process because we do spend over $50,000 annually. But there are a few that we will procure through written quotes because we don't spend that much on them. But we just tell the vendors to check that list. There's all kind of items on there the departments do use. And I will turn this over to Roxanne Rush.
Good evening, everyone. Once you provide goods and services to the county, the most important part is how do you get paid? And that's where the finance department comes into play. So the first thing that's most important is that you must submit an invoice to the county. And the finance department is now paperless, and we prefer to get our invoices electronically. So you can submit your invoices to accounts.payable@cobbcounty.org. And once you submit those, then we can create the payment for you. It's very important that you make sure you send the invoice directly to the finance department and not to the department that you're working with, because that could create a delay in getting you paid. The invoices should contain pertinent information such as your vendor identification information and purchase order number. Many times we get invoices in the finance department and we don't know what purchase order it relates to. So that takes a lot of research on our behalf, which will then delay your payment. So it's very important that you're able to provide that purchasing information on your invoice. Any back order should be indicated on the invoice when you submit it, and we do not prepay for any goods or services. Now, once you become a vendor, we do create paper checks, but that could take a while for you to receive the payment. So we're very excited that we have 2 options of electronic payments. The first one is an EFT, which is an electronic funds transfer. And so we're able to transfer the money to your bank. Generally what happens is we cut checks on a Thursday, and if you are an EFT vendor, you will receive your funds on a Monday. We also have the option of an EPY, which is our e-payables program that is utilized through Bank of America. If you as a vendor are able to accept credit cards, then we will set up a Ghost credit card for you. When we cut checks on Thursdays, we can then transfer the money to you on that day, and you can download it into your bank immediately. So we're very excited about those options, and if you'd like to talk about them later, I will be in the room at the networking site, and I also have forms available that you can fill out to become an EFT or EPY vendor. So I'll now turn it back over to Joe.
Okay, thank you, Roxanne. Okay, well, we've covered the basic requirements for purchases up to $50,000, and then Daphne has told us about the formal process in excess of 50. So if you receive a solicitation or a formal solicitation exceeding $50,000, there's 2 main methods that we use for those solicitations. I wanted to briefly review those and make sure everybody understands the difference. And I think Elisa went ahead and she also touched on these earlier, so we won't spend a lot of time on this. But our two main formal solicitation methods is an invitation to bid, or an ITB, and a request for proposals, an RFP. Now, here's the main differences in those, and it really depends on which product or service that you're actually selling, and the determination is based on which method is going to best serve the needs of the county. So with an ITB, which we use mainly for commodities and supplies and equipment, the award's made to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder. Now, what does responsive mean? That means the bidder who complies with the minimum requirements of that solicitation. So the bidder will comply with the specifications and they'll comply with the terms and conditions of that solicitation. Responsible is the capability to carry out the contract. So if you've got the capability to carry out the contract and you comply with minimum terms and conditions and requirements, then you're a responsive, responsible bidder. Okay? Okay, now what about an RFP? If you're in a business that's a little bit more service-oriented, then you'll probably receive an RFP. And again, in an RFP, we consider factors other than cost. Now let me ask everybody a quick question. If you were going to contract with an interior designer to do design work in your home, would you go out and get 3 quotes from 3 designers and go with the lowest quote? Okay, I see a lot of no's. So why would we not want to go out and necessarily take lowest price? What would be some other factors that we might want to consider? Okay, yeah, creativity. What? Okay, reputation, experience. Okay, yeah, their approach, their philosophy to. Okay, availability. So we apply those same principles when we do an RFP. If there's other factors that will contribute to our buying decision that's going to be important to the county, then we'll use an RFP. So that's the main differences in those two processes. Does anybody have a question on that? Okay, so again, RFP, we consider factors other than cost. Now, if you'll turn to the back of your agenda. Okay, you will see a sample of an evaluation approval form. And that's a form that departments send to us indicating the number of points they want to apply to certain factors. Now again, those factors are determined by the relative importance and the importance of that factor to the success of the procurement. So in some RFPs, there may be very little weight put on cost, and then there may be other procurements where cost may be more important and we could have 40 to 50% of the weight. So again, that's a determination that's made by the department and purchasing to come up with the approach that's going to serve the best interests of that department and help them obtain the service that they're needing. Okay, okay, Kara. Okay, local vendor presence. Now I've only been in Cobb County about 18 months as procurement director. And I probably had 5 vendors that were not the low bidder on an ITB or an invitation to bid, but they came in and said, wait a minute, I'm an in-Cobb bidder, why am I not receiving the award? And because they'd say, I've heard about this local vendor presence program. So all Cobb vendors are getting local preference, right? Local vendor presence in Cobb only applies to professional services. And those are highly specialized services like architects, engineers, IT consultants, and those other highly specialized services. It will not apply to commodities, equipment, or supplies. Now, how does this work? Okay, if you'll go back to that evaluation form, and if you'll look under, and let me get a copy and make sure I'm not missing anything. If you'll go down to item number 4, availability and local vendor presence, there's a range of 5 to 10 points that can be applied to that factor. Okay, let's say, for example, department says we feel like 10 points should be applied because that's important. Okay, the way this will work is if you're an in-Cobb vendor and a qualified, I'll tell you just a minute how to be qualified as a local vendor. If the contract is valued or anticipated to be valued between $50,000 and $100,000, you would get 5 bonus points or 5 qualitative evaluation points. So in that case, if we had 10 points, the most that an out of Cobb bidder could obtain would be 5 points, and then there would be the potential for an in-Cobb bidder to get an additional 5 points. Okay, that's between $50,000 and $100,000. And then any contract anticipated to exceed $100,000, you could get up to 3 additional qualitative evaluation points. And that's what really makes up the local vendor presence policy. So again, that only applies to professional services. Okay? And this policy was amended, our policy on professional services was amended back in 2011 to include the local vendor presence program. Okay. Any questions on local vendor presence? Yes, ma'am.
I sell commodities. So is there an opportunity for that to change commodities?
Well, I've been asked that question a lot, you know, since I've been in Cobb, and I'm just not sure about that. That's a policy change that requires Board of Commissioners action. So I can't really answer that right now. Okay.
Well, I've been
Yeah.
across the nation, and I am always bidding against other companies that do get that local presence benefit. So it is available in other states.
Yeah, and you're right, and it varies from sometimes even from county to county within the same state. Okay.
I'm fairly new to Cobb as well.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm finding that's a little stickler for me.
Okay, so I just want to be sure everybody understood that, because there's, like I said, there's been a perception that local vendor presence program applies to everything, and again, it's only limited professional services. Well, the local vendor presence, now the Keep It in Cobb initiative is really what we're doing tonight. We're trying to reach out and find ways to promote more local vendor participation. Okay. 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 So, what are the qualifications to be a qualified in-Cobb bidder? There's 3 requirements, and first of all, you have to be, your physical location of your business has to be in the geographical boundaries of Cobb County or within a municipality within Cobb County. So physical address within geographical boundaries. The second requirement is you must possess a current Cobb County occupation tax certificate or an equivalent certificate from a Cobb municipality. And then the third requirement is that you cannot have any outstanding taxes, fees, or fines within Cobb County or within those municipalities. So those are the 3 requirements to be qualified as or to qualify for the local vendor presence program. Sir? Well, the second, you don't necessarily have to reside in Cobb, but the physical address of your office must be within Cobb County. Okay. Okay, and just a couple quick statistics. We for fiscal year 2013, we awarded almost $5 million in contracts through the local vendor presence program. And if you see, Department of Transportation, of course, had the vast majority of those dollars. In fact, it actually exceeded $5 million. And then at the end of the current fiscal year, which will be in September, we'll update these figures. So at the next How to Do Business with Cobb and the school district, we'll have updated figures. Okay? Okay, Carrie. Okay, E-Verify. We've talked about this at every How to Do Business, and this is really becoming more of a reminder, because I know everybody has seen this as a really hot topic over the last couple of years. There's been a lot of media coverage on immigration E-Verify, but just a reminder, if you're going to enter into a contract with Cobb County, you must have entered into a contract for physical, if it's a physical performance of services, then you have to be registered with E-Verify. Now, let's see, Karen, I think we have, that's okay. We had an updated slide that's not here, but that's fine. But I did want to mention in July of 2013, the definition for physical performance of services changed. And that definition now is the performance of any labor and services for contracts exceeding $2,499.99. So if you contract with the county or the school district, right, Lisa? And your contract exceeds $24.99.99, then you must be registered in E-Verify, and you must be able to present a notarized affidavit indicating your E-Verify number. Okay. Okay. Any questions on E-Verify? Okay. I did have, I think it last How to Do Business, somebody asked about, well, if you provide professional services like architectural engineering services, do you have to be certified or registered through E-Verify? And the answer to that is yes. If you're providing any service, whether it's a labor or service, then you must be registered with E-Verify. Okay? So if property management gives you a call and they're building a sidewalk that's valued at $2,500, in order to contract with the county, you must be registered with E-Verify. Okay, tips for improving opportunities with Cobb County and doing business. And Daphne talked briefly about these earlier, but just to recap, again, if you will, all our advertisements run each Friday in the Marietta Daily Journal. Be sure you check the legal section, and also be sure you check our website frequently. So I always tell people to be sure you, if you'll check those two sources, then you'll be up to date on our bidding opportunities. Maintain contact with buyers. I did want to mention we've got a very open, responsive purchasing staff. We're really proud of. They like to meet new vendors, and we encourage new vendors to come by and visit the buyers and our staff. Commodity registration, Stephanie went over this, but again, review your registration regularly, and if you need to update, go ahead and update that often. And then I also wanted to mention the cooperative purchasing program. Daphne had mentioned that she has over 120 master agreements. Well, one of the conditions of that agreement is the awarded vendor must be willing to offer the prices and terms and conditions to participating Cobb County municipalities and also other governmental entities. So let's see, go to next slide here. Okay, and so this is the Intergovernmental Cooperative Purchasing Program, and those cities and entities all have access to these 120 or so master agreements. So if you win one of those contracts, not only can you sell to Cobb County, but you can sell to the cities of Ackworth, Austell, Kennesaw, Smyrna, Marietta, and Powder Springs, and of course the Cobb County School District is part. Yeah. Okay. So again, not only do you have opportunities in Cobb, but you have opportunities to provide these products and services to all these different other entities. So the Cobb County Marietta Water Authority, the Coliseum and Exhibit Hall Authority. Okay, and that concludes our presentation.